Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Jude with your lab. So you will find your t-test lab in the assignment section, and what you want to do is you want to right-click the link. This is important. You want to right-click the link and open link in a new tab. This will enable you to make a copy. You won't be able to make a copy unless you right-click that. Okay, so make sure you right-click the link. Make it and open another tab, and you want to go to File, Make Copy, and you just make it any so you get a copy of your copy. Okay. So now we can just close the actual copy. So this is your lab. It's a t-test, and this t-test will be informing your homework. This lab will be informing your homework, which you will be on your own for, and they will both be in Google Sheets. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to do a t-test in Google Sheets, and I'm going to show you how to do a t-test with uneven sampling. As you can see, we have uneven, uh, you know, we have gaps there, and I'll teach you how to deal with that. So we need to first figure out what the objective of our study is, and this one is we have Class A with 31 students, and Class B with 27 students. Okay. So we have Class A and Class B exam scores. Class A use study method A, it's pretty simple. Class B use study method B. So determine which study method was more effective. So we have study method A, study method B, and we have our test scores right here. What we're going to do here is we have 31 students, and for Class A, and we have 26 students for Class B. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull a sample of 25 for each of them, okay? So in order to do this, we need to randomly sample. That's the key. You need to randomly sample. So let's go ahead and make an A tab and a B tab. Now, I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, but you could always pause and rewind me in the video format. That's the advantage of that format. So make sure you do pause and rewind as needed. Or, yeah. So we're going to copy Class A, the whole thing. Okay. Copy, paste into the A tab. And we're going to do the same thing for Class B. Copy, paste into B. Now, for each one of these, we are going to do a random number column. I'm just going to call it random number. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this over to B. This sets us up to assign random sampling to each class. So what we're going to do is we're going to equal random, equal rand, click rand. It'll bring up, this little equal rand open parentheses. You can just hit enter and it'll generate numbers for you. It'll offer to autofill it. And if you want to, you can click check mark and autofill that, but sometimes it won't ask you to autofill. So in case it does not ask you to autofill, all you have to do is see this little blue box, highlight the rand box that you have there, and then you want to click and drag it all the way down so that it, fulfills, it marks them all. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the entire column, right click, copy, and then we're going to paste over it. Paste special values only. This is very important. And what this does, it removes the random number formula from the numbers themselves so they will stop scrambling as you go forward. Now let's do the same thing for B. That was B. So we're just going to make sure, let's see. No, that was A. That was in fact A. So we're going to grab B and move them over to the B tab. It's already moved over. My bad, I got ahead of myself. So we're going to hit equal rand. And we're going to generate that number by double tapping it. I'm just going to autofill it this time. You see here, we have that. Now watch, you can see as things change, the numbers do scramble a little bit. You can see them, moving around. So the reason why we copy space special as is to prevent those numbers from shifting so much. So we'll go ahead and copy. paste special, values only. And now we have that. Okay, so the next step is to apply filtering to class A and random number. So apply our filters. The filter button can be found by first thing, and I just did it quickly there. For this one, I'll slow down. So right click, not right click, but left click your row 1. See how I'm clicking the row 1 over here. And you're going to enter the filter right there. Now sometimes if your screen's not big enough, you'll just see 3 dots over here. My screen's pretty big at home, but you'll just click the 3 dots and it'll pop up and you'll see a similar menu. So what we're going to do is, for both of them, we're going to filter A to Z, and we're going to filter this one A to Z as well. Okay. And you can see here, 0.06, 0.07, it's going from least to smallest. You can do it the other way around too. You can make it Z to A and make it biggest to smallest. But we're going to do lowest to smallest, lowest to biggest. We're going to do the same thing over here. And remember that we needed a sample size of 25. So I'm just going to make the ID column right here. 1, 2. Highlight both. Drag them down until you get 25. And this will be your sample. Make another sheet. And we're going to call this one t-test. Okay. So let's go ahead and pull 25 from class A. Make sure you include, that's the random numbers. 25 from class A. So Control V. We have our class A values now. Now let's go get our class B values. And we're going to do the same thing. ID. 1, 2. Highlight both. Drag them down until we get to 25, like so. And we're going to grab the first 25 after we, jumbled them up. It looks like it dropped one of the high scores. That's fine though. Control V. Undo. Control V. And then we have our nice little sample size here. Now we have a sample for a t-test. Now let's run our t-test. Well, first thing we do is we determine our variance. Okay, so for class A, this will be class A variance, class B variance, class A mean, class B mean, and then we'll have our t-test p-value. Okay, so this is the numbers we're going to. So let's get our variance for class B equal var class B. Do not let it autofill. We're going to get our average for class A, the average scores. Remember in order to do this, you need to equal average and then click on a score. You can go either up or down, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go below from this one. Click on that and just hold it down. Oops, just go ahead. Click down, highlight it up, click and drag all the way up. There you go. And then finally, we're going to go t.test. Now I'm going to bring up a help screen. I'm going to also post this up. This is the help sheet for t-test in Google Docs editors. It's like a little instruction manual, right? And what this does is it tells you the syntax. Here's the syntax for the t-test, okay? And it tells you the first sample. And it basically tells you what each one means. Range 2, tails, and if you use 1, it's a one-tailed. If you use 2, it's a two-tailed. Type is a paired test is performed. 2 is a sample equal variance performed. And 2 is sample of unequal variance. Now, the variance is similar enough in this. Actually, it's pretty darn different. So let's go ahead and because of the way this sample turned out, we're going to actually use number 3 for this one. But if it was even amounts of variance, or at least close variance, then we would use this. So t-test equal t.test, our first range, which is this, class A, comma, second range, class B, comma, it's a small sample size, so we're going to run a one-tailed test, and variance is very different, so we're going to run a type 3, okay? Still returned a very high p-value, okay? But that is, in essence, how you do a t-test like that. Now, let's take a look at, let's run a two-tailed test, okay? If we ran a two-tailed test, it would be even harder to get back. It would be an even higher p-value. Now let's change this back to 1 and then run a type 2 test, and let's see what happens with that p-value from there. Notice how it went down. So go 3. Didn't really change that much, but the variance wasn't really that big of a difference. Two-tail test, big change. 3 on that, not much change. It's just because of the way the sample's working. So we have that. So if you want to play around with that, you can. And that's how you do that. Now let's do, in order to do an even t-test, you just if it's just, it starts from here, right? If you had the even one, you would just draw the columns as is, get the variance, get the means, get the p-value, report the p-value. Now how you would report this is p-value equal is less than 0.05. Then we reject null, okay? P-value greater than 0.05, we have to accept null. Now, if we reject null, I'll highlight this in blue because I am, then that means we can determine that there was the change in, remember the initial problem was method A versus method B, right? If this was less than 0.05 right here, we could say, based on our experiment, that study group A, the study method A, was more effective by 1 point. But because we have to accept null, what that means is the test was determined to make no difference. Okay, so we can safely say, okay, there's no difference based on our data, but what's actually going on here is we have a sample size of 26, which is not really enough to go on. Plus, we have an incredibly high variance, which makes it even worse. Now, if we had a lower variance, for example, this p-value would probably come down even more. But it's a high p-value because low sample size and high variance. And the t-test it makes the data unreliable for assessing if something is effective or not, and the t-test will tell you that by giving you a high p-value. Hopefully this was helpful for performing your homework, and I'll post. Of course, I'm going to post your homework now. Good luck, and let me know if you need help.